Have you ever been killed by this guy? I think most of us have. We just never knew where he was located. In this video, I'll give you some simple tips and tricks on how you can get to spotting people easier. Though I'll be honest, I won't be able to teach you how to spot the rats in the bushes every single time. I'm pretty sure you would need dirty cheese to be able to do that. Anyway, here is some of the stuff I'll be going over in this video. Timestamps will be in the description if you're only here for some of it, though I recommend you to watch all of it, because you might just learn something new. Also, before we continue, I'd like to say thank you so much for all the support on the recent 2 videos. It really blew me away to see all the support, and I just want to thank you guys for that. If this video is in any way helpful to you, if you could hit that like and subscribe button for me, that would be greatly appreciated. It's all free, you can always unsubscribe, and I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, so it would help out a lot. Anyways, let's get into the video. First things first, let's go over graphic settings. When it comes to Tarkov, the way you want to play with your settings is completely up to you. It's really dependent on the performance of your PC and how you want your game to run, and if it even can run. So therefore, a lot of people will say a lot of different things. For this video, I'll show you the settings that I have played on for the majority of this wipe, as well as some specific things that you can tweak if you really want the upper hand on your enemies. We're now in the Tarkov settings. I just upgraded to a 1440. I play 1610. This is preference. Objectively, you will be able to see more on 16.9 because your visibility is wider. And if you go down and play something like 5.4 or 4.3, you are just going to see less. But then again, this is preference. It doesn't really change the gameplay. I just like having it a little tiny bit stretched. I come from CSGO, so these are my settings. You can pause the video. This is what I've been running for the wipe so far. This isn't like the highest FPS settings you can get, but this is just what I prefer. Now, there's one of these settings I would like to talk about, which could be very, very important for spotting people. As well as post effects, these are the ones I use. I'll get into this later. So in Escape from Tarkov, the render distance of terrain and foliage is not up to us. You can't just crank up or down on your render distance and be able to see more or less. It is somehow predetermined for us. You'll be able to see this by, for example, sitting on Sniper Rock on woods. You can see the middle to back area of Sawmill here kind of looks like Play-Doh. This is because it's not fully rendered in. But the moment you ADS with your gun, you'll be able to see the grass and foliage again. This is probably the one biggest thing that I have kept in mind when trying to look for players, since the same does not go for player models. This means if you see someone running very far away, the foliage, the grass, the bushes will not load in, but the player still will. So you'll be able to spot the players way easier than if you were ADS'd and there was grass and all type of stuff in the way. Here's a clip from when I did Shooterborn on Shoreline, where I kept this in mind and it worked out in my favor. After I did some testing with my mate on woods, I sat on Sniper Rock and I made him run all the way to the middle of red and gray. With my usual settings that I have played on, I was not able to see his model render in, unless I ADS'd my scope. Though, if you crank up your LOD quality, this will boost the distance that you can see player models render, but still not the grass. So if you really want the most advantage possible for spotting players, especially if you're one of those that like long range sniping, if your PC can have this all the way up to 4, go for it. Here you can see me switching around the settings, where first, when I play on 2.5, I can't see him unless I ADS. And when I crank it up to 4, I can pretty clearly see him without having to ADS, with no grass or foliage in the way. Here we tested the use of post effects and if it was actually easier to spot people with post effects on versus without post effects on. I know the community is kind of split. A lot of people do use post effects and a lot of people don't, just use the color adjustment stuff on their monitors or in the NVIDIA control panel, which I also did in the beginning, but then I switched over to use post effects after and I have never looked back since. In my opinion, when I use post effects, I can spot people quite a bit easier than if I had it off. Here you see Nemi running around with me having post effects on, and then compared to this, which is no post effects without sharpening as well. The sharpening really does a lot because the game is naturally very, very blurry. So even if you don't play with post effects on, I would still recommend you to bump up your sharpening a little bit. I had 0.7 sharpening on here. Though without any color correction from the post effects, the trees and the grass really blend in with each other more, which makes it so much more difficult to spot players around trees. You can see here with the post effects on, the trees are more of a lime green, brighter green color than the grass is, which will help us distinguish from what is grass and what is trees, and therefore make it kind of easier to spot people if they happen to be there. Though keep in mind, post effects does eat a little bit of your FPS. I would still recommend to have it on because it really is a game changer. Now that we're finished with the longest segment of the video, let's move on to the next few tips that are going to be more gameplay based. First on the list is the military scan strat. In the American military, the US Marines get taught to scan the area from right to left instead of left to right. This is because when we read in our everyday, we go from left to right. Therefore, if we go from right to left instead, it'll somehow cause the brain to pick up on more stuff that shouldn't be there. Whereas if you go from left to right, your brain is already used to the motion and might miss something. I'm not a psychic, I don't really know how this works, but I'll leave the article in the description if you want to read about it. Next on the list, utilizing your free look. This is pretty huge. Whenever you're watching some Giga Chat streamer, you see them doing this all the time, and it's something that newer players just don't really do. In Tarkov, you have the ability to free look. If you hold down your middle mouse button, which is the default bind for this, and then move your mouse, you can look wherever you want without having to turn your entire body, and you're only turning your head. You can really utilize your free look in many different ways, especially in PvP. You might have fought some people who were just running from doorway to doorway and you didn't really know what was going on. That was because they used the free look and were looking directly at you while running from door to door. You should practice using this, even just when you run around your raids, to always kind of keep alert on your surroundings without having to stop all the time. Now, what do you do if you get caught with your pants down and you don't see the player shooting at you? A lot of Tarkov players get really tunnel visioned once they see a player. They might be sitting in a bush, behind a tree, behind a rock somewhere, looking directly at you. If you're lucky to be in a place where there's any sort of cover, what you should try to do is rotate. Because if you just sit behind the same tree, you're eventually gonna get killed, whether that's through the tree or with grenades. Most of the time, the player shooting at you will keep looking at the last seen position that you were in. If you're in the right spot at the right time, this will make you able to rotate around him and therefore give you a new chance to spot him. And if you're lucky, he might even have his back turned on you. Though if this happens in an area where there's no cover, well, you can't win them all. Now, closing in on the end of the video, this is the second last tip that pretty much just comes with playing the game a lot. Learn the player spawns and the popular player spots. Here's a clip of me on customs. I spawn on the island near Big Red and I want to go to dorms. Though I notice a player spawn on both sides of the little metal bridge that I need to cross. Since I'm aware of these spawns, I proceed with caution and I catch a group of 3 players off guard. This is just one example of moments where knowing the spawns really helped me out. Play a bunch of raids or look at the Tarkov wiki, look at the maps where the player spawns, and learn the popular player spots as well. You tend to see the same spots people go to in videos and streams, so whenever you run past those locations, just be wary and keep a lookout. Of course, you do that with your free look. Anyways guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you take something useful with you from this video. If you haven't already, you can check out my prior videos. I made a PvP sound guide about what sounds can be heard in the game, and then I did a highlight video of my road to Kappa. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe. I'll keep them coming. Wipe on the 10th of August. That's my guess. I really don't know, but that's my guess. We'll be going for Kappa one more time and whatever new adventures Tarkov has to offer us. It's been Limxyy. I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.